Just got your Cricut and want to start making shirts? In this video, I'm walking you through exactly what you need, and we're gonna make your first shirt together. Let's jump into it. All right, let's talk materials. There are a few things you actually need to make your first shirt. Let's start with the Cricut. So in the Cricut, when you first get it, we're actually gonna be using the fine point blade. It is the one that comes with it. Ooh, this one's dirty, y'all. So you're just using that. You're gonna place it in. Follow all the instructions to do that. We're also gonna be using a few other tools to make sure everything is right. You're gonna need a mat. You're gonna need vinyl. You're gonna need a weeding tool. This is gonna help us get the vinyl off of the mat. And then last, you're gonna need Teflon or parchment paper, and you're gonna need a heat source. Today, I'm gonna be using my heat press, but you are welcome to use an iron, but you'll need to be able to press it. Or if you have the Cricut heat press, you can use that as well. Now let's get into Design Space and design our shirt.
All right, now over in Design Space, you're just gonna hit New Project and you're gonna go to Blank Canvas. There's a whole bunch of other things there, but you don't need to worry about it. Cricut likes to show you their designs, but you don't really need those templates either. Now here's your blank canvas. You can play around with how much zoom you want on your canvas. Because my design is not huge, I can zoom this in a lot more. If I had a larger design, zooming out helps you to see your full design, even with the inches staying the same. On your left panel is gonna be all of your elements. If you had a design you wanted to upload, you can click upload, but for this design, we're just gonna start with a text. As Mother's Day is coming up, let's make a mama shirt. To begin, I'm just gonna type out the word mama. Once typed, you can move mama to wherever you want it on your canvas. Let's move it to the top, and then I'm gonna resize it just so it's a little bit bigger. You can resize your design in two ways. You can grab from each of the corners and pull outwards, or you can utilize the bar at the top and enter in the width and the height that you desire. For now, we're gonna put the width at 8 and the height about 3. When you change the width, notice that the height automatically changes. If you wanna put a specific height, you need to unlock and then write in that height. So let's make this 3. For this design, I have another text, so let's add in one more text. We're gonna do an established year, so it's EST, and I'm gonna do 2014. That's when I became a mama, y'all. Next, let's select the font we wanna use. I'm gonna be using two different types of vinyl here. I wanna use puff vinyl for the mama, and I wanna use regular HTV for the established. To select our font, we're gonna go to the toolbar at the top, and this is gonna open a window that showcases to you all the different fonts within the system. Cricut Design has their own fonts. There's also the system fonts, recent fonts, and bookmarked. I like to bookmark my favorite fonts that I use often. For this design, the font that we're gonna use is called Hello Mama. This is a system font and not a Cricut font, so I'm gonna go to System and type in Hello Mama and it should come up. Once you select the font, you're gonna have to go back in and resize to fit the size that you want. Some fonts are just smaller than others. When selecting a font, you wanna pick fonts that are bold. Fonts that are too thin can prove difficult to cut. On this design, the first A that's connected to the M feels a little bit too far from the second M, and I don't like that line so thin. Clicking the edit button, I'm gonna ungroup my letters. This separates all the letters in the design. Now I can move the A, M, and the A however I want to. My only issue is with the A, so I'm gonna select the A, and using my arrow keys or just dragging, I'm gonna move that A closer to the second M. Once I'm happy with the way it looks, I'm gonna select each of the letters from my right panel. Once selected, I'm gonna click the weld button on my left panel. This tells Cricut to cut your design together and not as separate letters. When I click make, you'll see this all comes out as one design. We're not quite ready to cut yet, so let's cancel that. Whenever I'm working with two different types of vinyl, I like to color code. So I'm gonna change Mama to pink. Once pink, I'm noticing that this line in the M is a little bit thin. So another tool that I like to use is offset to increase the thickness of my fonts. On the edit panel, you're gonna scroll down to effects and click offset. This is where you can increase how much of an offset you create and then just hit apply. Right now, my offset is black and my design is pink. I want to make sure my offset and my design are combined. So selecting both of those, I'm going to hit weld on my left-hand panel. Notice that changed the color back to gray. I'm gonna change it back to pink to represent again my puff vinyl. Once everything looks good with Mama, I'm just gonna work on the Establish and changing the font. The font I'm gonna be using is Aldine 721. My final step is just working out the sizing, and then I'm ready to hit cut. My total design ended up being 8x4 for Mama, and the Establish ended up being 2.4 by 0.5. Once you feel good about everything, click the Make button. This is gonna open up the screen that showcases what your design will look like on a mat. Here's where the color coding comes in handy. The first mat is my Establish, which is the regular HTV, and the second mat is my puff vinyl, which is gonna be pink. The mat I'm using is a 12 by 12, and because this is HTV, we wanna mirror our designs. You're gonna make sure you do this for both mats. Once done, you're gonna hit continue, and this is where you select the type of vinyl you're gonna be using. My puff vinyl is the Make Market brand from Michaels, and that's the Sports Flex iron-on setting. My second vinyl is Caesar Easy Weed Eco Stretch, and I use the everyday iron-on settings for that. Back over on our workstation, we wanna cut our vinyl to size. You will see I actually created a daughter shirt to go along with the Mama, so I'm cutting extra vinyl here. We're gonna place our vinyl with the pink side down. The shiny side is actually my transfer paper. This is why we mirror our designs, so that when we're pressing, the shiny side acts like our transfer paper and is protecting our design from the heat. I have the Cricut Maker 3, but this is the same on all. You'll have a blinking light that tells you that it's time to load your mat. This initial load is to measure your mat, not your vinyl. So always make sure you have ample vinyl for the design that you're cutting. Once the measurement is complete, the blinking play button signals that it's time to cut. Once the cutting is complete, you just simply unload your mat by clicking the blinking button. I follow the same steps for my next type of vinyl, and then it's time to weed. When weeding my vinyl, I like to keep it on the mat. This is where that weeding tool comes in handy. I like to start in a corner and just peel back the vinyl. Because we picked the great font, this is gonna peel like butter. When weeding, it's important that you get all the little pieces in between the letters so that your design looks exactly like it looks on the computer. And there we have it. We're gonna cut each of our designs and get ready to press. I'm gonna press this in 2 different ways just to show you 2 options on how to work with different types of vinyl at the same time. The type of shirt we're using is cotton and it's Tabella canvas. For our first way to press, I'm actually gonna press the Eco Stretch first, and then I'm gonna press the puff vinyl second. You cannot press puff vinyl first because your puff will be compromised when you go and press it again. You first want to pre-press your garment just to get any moisture out so that your vinyl can adhere a little bit better. Our heat press is set at 305, and we're gonna press this for 10 seconds. We're also gonna lint roll just to get any extra debris off. And now it's time to line up our design. To get perfect placement every time, I like to use a tool. This one is from Amazon. And my first step is always to fold my vinyl in half. That center line of my vinyl is gonna line up exactly where I want it. Placing this way can be tricky because Establish falls within the Mama design and not at the end. The tool represents the center of my Mama. So knowing the center line, I'm just gonna move it down a little bit, make sure the tool is centered, and then I'm gonna position the Establish where I feel like it falls on the Mama. If I wanted to be more precise, I should go back and measure, but I'm not gonna do that. Once I'm happy with the placement, I'm gonna press for 8 seconds. This is a hot peel, and now it's time to line up the Mama. I'm folding my design in half. Again, this is just so that the center of my design lines up with the center of the shirt. If you didn't have a tool, I would say fold your shirt in half and press it to create a crease, and then use that to align your designs. We're gonna change the heat setting on the heat press to align for my puff vinyl. That's 280 degrees, and we're gonna press this for 10 seconds. At medium pressure, and this is a hot peel. The Mama shirt is complete. You will see that I could have brought the Establish down a little bit. This is why I think the other method works way better. This method utilizes my mat. I can use the straight lines on my mat to line up my designs perfectly. I'm first, as always, gonna fold my design in half just so I get the center line. I'm gonna align my design with the lines on the mat so that my daughter is straight. And last, I'm gonna place Establish exactly where I want it. The good thing with using this method, if you're unhappy with where it's placed, you can always just peel it off and stick it again. Once you're happy with the placement, it's time to press. For this press, we're gonna keep our heat press the temperature for the puff vinyl. So that's 280 degrees, and it's gonna be pressed for about 10 seconds. Lining up our design is simple because we folded our design in half and we just aligned it with the center of the shirt. We're gonna do a hot peel and then we're done. I am loving this pink on pink. These turned out really good, even with doing them with 2 different methods. As I said, the method I prefer is the one that I did with the daughter shirt. And to make any design look a little bit more elevated, monochrome is the way to go. Can't wait for me and my daughter to wear these.
If you found this video helpful, leave a comment below. And while you're at it, why don't you tell me what you want to see next? Until next time, bye!